Hello, beautiful dragon people, and welcome to Wiki Wednesdays, where we take a look at the Dragon Prince Wiki, and we go over the entry for whatever the topic is, and I stutter my way through it and maybe make jokes. The series is still kind of in the conceptual phase, but even though that's the case, here's a video. So I put out to my Discord, the Beautiful Dragon People Discord, and I asked them what topic I should cover first for the video, and overwhelmingly people wanted to see me talk about the timeline. Much better channels than mine have already talked about the timeline, but I guess I will do it in my Vero style, you know? Stammer my way through and mispronounce words. No, that's great. Timeline. This page contains a list of 𝐊𝐤𝐴's in-universe timeline. This article is divided into significant eras of history and dated as years before 𝐁𝐻, or 𝐵𝐵, and years after 𝐁𝐻, or 𝐴𝐵, for navigation. As more specific dates are still unrevealed, some events are subject to be moved in the order of events. I mean, I guess that just makes sense. Yeah, you know, the show's still ongoing, and I'm sure there'll be graphic novels and other kinds of lore books that'll be released long after the show wraps up. So this page is probably going to be in flux till the end of time, basically. Ancient history. Era of the first elves. 5,000 years BZ. The first elves settle in 𝐊𝐤𝐴. Dragons and elves are not allied, and no distinct primal elves exist. Well, that's really interesting. I didn't know what that. Where's that coming from? Let's see. Always check your sources, kids. Okay, so it looks like that piece of information comes from the San Diego Comic-Con from 2019. That's really cool. Okay, so like I haven't I don't know every single bit of information about the series, so that's kind of the whole goal of this Wiki Wednesdays, is to go over things that seem obvious and mine them for those little tidbits of information that we might not already know. 𝐼𝐼𝐢𝐿 is built near a place that would later become the border. Harsh weather conditions lead to famine and a time of struggle for humanity. They turn to the elves for help, but are turned down. Rise of Illyrian. 2,000 years before 𝐁𝐻 was born. Unicorns begin to feel pity for humans and gift a few wise scholars the first primal stones, against the advice of the elves. They teach them ancient Draconic and instruct them on how to cast spells by drawing runes. Through magic, humans begin building great civilizations and developed arts, their cities thriving and growing. Oh, you know, I said cities, but I guess city. So, is Illyria not just the first human city, but was it literally the only, like, human civilization in those days? That's actually really interesting. That brings us to the era of Sol Ragum, that one relative that you don't want to talk to at Thanksgiving. Because of the racism. Sol Ragum becomes king of the dragons. Ancient moon druids perform rituals at the moon hinge and open a portal between life and death. Sir Phineas Cursed travels the world with a young elven professor named Delilah 𝐁𝐿? Anybody know how to say that? Sir Phineas Cursed travels the world with a young elven professor named Delilah 𝐁𝐿, who later became the author of The Lost Secrets of 𝐊𝐤𝐴. Well, now, The Lost Secrets of 𝐊𝐤𝐴, I don't know if I'm even familiar with what that is. So that comes from number 2. Oh, hey, that was the same piece of information that we just looked at, Site 2. So that means that this must have come from San Diego Comic-Con 2019, is that right? Yes, that is correct. San Diego Comic-Con 2019. Okay. The human mage, 𝐊𝐤𝐴RD, is gifted a relic staff by one of the Great Ones and discovers the 7th source, dark magic. Well, I think it's pretty heavily implied that the one that gifted him this staff is Aaravos. There's even a scene where it looks like Aaravos recognizes the staff, so it definitely seems like Aaravos is the one that kind of gave humanity the secrets of dark magic. Even though I don't believe he actually, created it. It's something that was always possible. It just had to be discovered how to do it. Dark mages begin to hunt and poach magical creatures for body parts to fuel their spells. The sought-after horns of unicorns lead to the poaching and eventual extinction of the generous creatures. Yeah, that kind of backfired on you guys, didn't it? Sol Ragum confronts 𝐷 on a hill near Illyrion, and demands for his people to give up dark magic and the relic staff, enabling him to use it. When 𝐷 refuses, Sol Ragum attempts to attack Illyrion. As an act of defense, 𝐷 casts a spell onto the dragon and leaves him permanently blind. 𝐷 is killed by a fireball during the struggle. Yeah, it's a shame that Sol Ragum didn't see that one coming. Sol Ragum goes through with his plan to burn down Illyrion, and the humans are once again abandoned by the elves. Yeah, the elves aren't super helpful, are they? Aaravos becomes a great benefactor of humanity, saving them from extinction. Now that's interesting. That is very interesting. So now, I've never heard of that. So they actually have a cited source for this. Let's take a look. We always check our sources over here. Oh, right! I actually did read that. Yeah, that was in the Art of the Dragon Prince. Yeah, actually now I kind of vaguely remember. I think I said something similar in my video review of that too, where I was like, I've never heard of that before. That's kind of big news. Oh no. And that brings us to the era of Luna Tenebris, or Tenebrus, or Tenebrus. I don't know. That's a great question. Maybe we can figure out how are you supposed to pronounce this? I have the audiobook of the book, and I think that's where that's from. I think it's said in the audiobook, but I don't remember how it is. So let's see how Google says we're supposed to pronounce this.
Tenebrus.
Tenebrus. Okay, so Luna Tenebrus? That's what it says here, so that's what I'm gonna go with from here on out. We'll see. Maybe when I listen to the audiobook again, I'll keep my ear open for it. Luna Tenebrus becomes the queen of the dragons. Humanity is banished to the western side of the continent as a punishment for the use of dark magic. The day becomes known as Judgment of the Half Moon in 𝐀𝐧𝐝. The moon nexus falls onto the western side of the continent, believing it to be safer to disable the sacred magical place entirely rather than let it fall into the hands of evil humans. Ancient moon druids destroy the moon hinge and assign a guardian to protect the nexus. The era becomes known as the Mage Wars to humanity. Powerful mages begin rising as warlords, battling for resources and territory on the new land until the human kingdoms begin taking shape over decades and centuries. The era of Avizandum. 300 years before 𝐷. Avizandum becomes king of the dragons and later declares 𝐷 his dragon queen. Aaravos becomes the fallen star and is imprisoned inside a magical mirror through a collaborative effort of both archdragons and elves for yet unrevealed crimes. I'm gonna go ahead and just make like a little prediction here. I think that those crimes were that he kind of gave humans the secret of dark magic. That's kind of that's kind of my theory. Yeah. That's my theory. The Orphan Queen travels to 𝐷 and saves the world from a yet unrevealed threat. She comes into the possession of the key of Aaravos. So I guess that's confirmed then. So we do know that it was passed down through Harrow's family. So I mean that pretty much confirms, right, that the Orphan Queen is an ancestor. Oh, you know what? Actually, I think that was already confirmed that it was an ancient that the Orphan Queen was the ancestor of Harrow's family, wasn't it? That we already knew that. But now we know like at what point it came in. So it's really interesting. So that makes me wonder, like they've talked about how they want to make the Orphan Queen a movie. So it seems that around the same time that Aaravos is imprisoned and declared the fallen star, the story of the Orphan Queen takes place. So that makes me wonder, does that mean that these two characters meet? I mean, that would make a lot of sense, right? Like she got the key of Aaravos from Aaravos. So that's actually really interesting. I feel like I really want to see that movie. Can that be like the next graphic novel? Like if it's too hard to make a movie? The Orphan Queen becomes Queen of Catullus and passes the key of Aaravos down to her descendants. Queen Aditi faces an unrevealed fate, leaving her family to assume her death. Queen 𝐀𝐧𝐝 becomes the ruler of Luxoria. 𝐁𝐼 becomes the Golden Knight of Luxoria. So, whoa, wait, hold up. So 𝐁𝐼's 300 years old? Hold up. How old is 𝐷𝐼𝐼𝐢? 𝐷𝐼𝐼𝐢 is middle-aged. Huh. So if she's 40, which is typically considered middle-aged. Wait, does that mean, so 𝐁𝐼, that's like, what is that, like 7.5 times older than 𝐷𝐼𝐼𝐢? FBI, open up! Alright, gang, and that brings us into the modern era. So I'm gonna cut this video into 2 parts. So we're gonna have the previous era of like ancient history, and then I guess next Wednesday I'll be coming back with the modern era. So thank you guys so much for watching. What did you guys learn that you guys didn't already know from this list? How do you pronounce these names? And as always, if you liked the video, please give it a like button. Like why not? And subscribe, and you too can become part of the beautiful dragon people. Plus, it's a good way to make sure you don't miss next week's video when I talk about the modern era. As for me, I'm off to rewatch The Dragon Prince, and I'll see ya.